Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Jose Ramirez, first pitch swinging, launches one high and deep to left. Does it have enough? Yes! Home run, Jose Ramirez into the bleachers. 2-0 Guardians. Jose continues to sizzle. Drill, deep left. If it's fair, it's gone. She is out of here.
It's weird. That by the way, who are we thanking for that?
Guardians TV. I think
Okay.
it's literally just Cleveland TV.
All right. It's weird because the second one is actually, I think, more frustrating than the fourth inning to me. Like, the fourth inning sucked, but then the Orioles do all that work to go get 4 runs, and you just need a shutdown inning just to keep feeling like you're in the game. And hey, man, Jose Ramirez, he's special. There's no question about that. But damn. Hi, good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Since the last time we were here, the Orioles have won 1 game.
That was a fun win.
It was fun. You're not wrong. It was fun. But it's the one. That's the one they've got. There you see Jeremiah Jackson for the 3rd time gets to go up on the board. It'd be nice if
Thank you, JJ.
somebody besides Jeremiah Jackson would maybe choose to get involved. We'll get into that a little bit later on. There's no getting around it. There's a lot of problems. And some of them you'd like to hope will be solved by the team getting healthier, if the team gets healthier. You'd like to hope that Adley Rutschman, if he returns this week, can look like the version of Adley Rutschman that we saw in a short sample size before he was hurt, because that guy was helpful. You'd like to hope that if Jackson Holiday comes back in the next few weeks, that he'll be Jackson Holiday. You can start hoping on a lot of these things, but it's hope right now. And the question is, as we talked about all of the volatility for the Orioles offensively coming into the season, are what we really learning that there just weren't enough sure things in this lineup? I mean, right now the lineup is being carried by Jeremiah Jackson and Leody Taveras. That's their reality. And Gunnar Henderson hits a home run from time to time. Because Gunnar Henderson was hitting home runs, we kind of didn't talk about some of his issues, but his issues are real. The outfielders, the young outfielders that you were praying were going to become answers, have to this point not been that. It's still a very small sample size. We're still not even at the quarter pole. I don't want to panic about any of that. But you can create a world where you think some of that gets better based on health. Again, a lot of that is still based on hope. Like the hope that Jordan Westberg will be a baseball player at some point this season. Again, the hope that Jackson Holiday will be the guy, and that the idea that Gunnar Henderson as a total hitter will be better as the year goes on. You can do a lot of that based on hope. But then there's also the rotation. And the one thing that was working now is broken. It's maybe a miracle that they're not worse than they are. The truth is, they went 2-5 last week, and they could have easily been 0-7. Easily. And you're hard-pressed to figure out what game, maybe Trevor Rogers' first start, you could say that's a game they should have won, right? Like they had a lead early. They wasted some opportunities to add to the lead, and then one bad inning doomed them. Like you could say that was a game they lost they should have won, but that's probably it. I mean, most of them they could have won. It's not like they were getting their asses handed to them this week. Even the game where they were getting no hit, they suddenly, in a moment, you're like, wait a second. Are they about to do this again? Obviously, the answer to that was no. It's actually difficult. I haven't been writing columns the same way that I did in the past, but like if I wrote a column, I don't know what I would say. I think the only column right now is, yes, it's still too small of a sample size to overreact to it, but it's not too small of a sample size to be concerned. And to again wonder if they just fell short or were too bullish, had too much hubris surrounding their own guys. Like the hubris that seemed to surround Colton Cowser. Now, you want to give them credit. They went out and got Leody Taveras, right? And I don't know that Leody Taveras is going to be this guy, but Leody Taveras right now is this guy. But even if he is, he's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. It's more harmful to the Orioles that Colton Cowser doesn't become a baseball player than it is helpful that Leody Taveras is. This is the reality of the circumstances. It's too early. It's way too early to say, boy, I'm starting to wonder about this front office's ability to draft and develop. Because it could very well be that in 2 months, Dylan Beavers is ripping the cover off the ball. And we're talking about what a player he is. But yeah, the Kobe Mayo thing doesn't look great. It's on the heels, and I know it was an adventure with Heston Kjerstad of that appearing to be a wasted number 2 overall pick. It doesn't look great. And at some point, if it doesn't change, there will have to be a deeper conversation about whether or not this front office has proven the ability to draft and develop. And when they fired the manager a year ago and tried to shift the blame, hey, we're giving you the pieces, you're not doing enough. Did that change the results? You can only complain about all the hitting coaches. So, I mean, there's been a million different hitting coaches. I mean, like a million of them. Now, maybe they were all the wrong ones. Maybe there's been 100 hitting coaches, and somehow all of them were the wrong hitting coaches. I'm trying to be reasonable about this. I mean, we have to react to what's happening. We can't just be like, well, you know, they're playing baseball games, but they don't matter. I mean, these are real baseball games. They're really losing. And they're a really incomplete, inconsistent, hard-to-figure-out team. And the two, like, foundational, the wins that you would say, this is the type of win that should define the 2026 Orioles, have both been followed up. The first one by 3 consecutive losses, the second one by back-to-back losses so far. Their emotional victories have had no carryover whatsoever, have meant nothing by the next day. And that's baseball to some extent. John Sterling would remind Susan Walker, that's baseball, Susan. Like, I understand. I was praising Jeremiah Jackson on Friday night because he just sounds like a baseball player, right? Like, on top of the fact that he's been very good. And what's not to like about Jeremiah Jackson, but he just sounds like a baseball player. I did the post-game interview with Melanie on Masson, and like he sounded like a guy that just wasn't going to allow himself to get too excited. He sounded like a kid that's played hundreds of baseball games every year for most of his life, and he knows, yeah, this was cool and all, but I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so I'm not going to get too excited about it. And you like the even keel. You like the steadiness. That's baseball. You got to embrace the suck. You've got to be in for it because you're going to go through stretches that are going to suck. And how do you respond to it? I guess my question right now is how are they going to respond to it? How is it going to turn into a 10-4 stretch? Where's that going to come from? And there are answers to be had. Pete Alonso hitting more home runs would certainly be one way that could happen. The pitching, I don't know, man. I want to believe that there are top-of-the-rotation pitchers here.
It's better than last year.
I hope.
Well, I mean, last year they're going like 3 innings, and then
Well, there's that.
Now they're getting close to 5, if not 5.
Even Chris Bassitt going 5 shutout innings on
Yeah,
Saturday.
it was like, what
Still-
a guy.
Yeah, still, or what was that, Friday? No, Friday? Friday.
yeah,
he
that was
went 5
Friday.
shutout innings.
Yeah.
They all run together. It was a miserable weekend. Even Chris Bassitt going 5 shutout innings on Friday leaves you with this like, oh, God, but it was pulling teeth, man. Like, God. It was
And he was ready to go
painful.
go for another out that inning. too.
Yeah, he'd given up. He had thrown 100 pitches over 5 innings. 5 innings, and he threw 100 pitches. He threw 5 shutout innings where he put 8 guys on base. God bless him. God, this is not me going war on Chris Bassitt. The result is the result. God bless you for battling through and keeping that game scoreless. Holy hell. That is hard to watch. That is tough. Remember when Stan would complain about how many guys Corbin Burns put on base? I'd be like, yeah, the thing about that is he's really good at not letting those guys score. Really good. I don't know, man. I never felt that way with Corbin Burns, but boy, does it. That on Friday was almost like it made you want to turn the game off because you were just like, all right, you can't walk this tightrope for forever. Oh, it was painful. I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to go crazy. The Royals have been struggling. We're going to talk about it with Jeremy Guthrie, Orioles legend, Royals TV analyst, will join us later on in the program. They've lost 7 in a row, but they also look like a team that shouldn't be this bad. It's one thing if like the Colorado Rockies were losing 7 in a row, you'd be like, yeah, they might keep losing.
They're doing the
keep.
opposite.
I know.
They're beating the Dodgers. They're cheating to do it. As well, but
Well, wait a second, because I saw some accusations being thrown around over the weekend. I saw some.
that just sounded like Dodgers aren't used to losing games, and they're like, "Well,
Who was the
This
pitcher?
seems not supposed to be
It was somebody I didn't recognize.
Dalton
Who-
Rushing was the one.
Dalton Rushing.
He's the catcher.
Oh, it was the catcher.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, he's their catcher.
Right.
Who's like, this seems weird. I don't think we're supposed to be getting hit this hard.
I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens.
I like it. I like that attitude. They
yeah.
shouldn't be beating us. They're cheating.
Maybe. Can I say with confidence that they don't know something? I can't do that at all. But I don't think the Royals are going to stay this bad. And trips to Kansas City have always been very frustrating for the Orioles.
Feels like trips to any AL Central.
What
city
is it about these trips to the AL Central, man?
where it's like
It does also feel like it's always cold.
It's
always
always like it's always April.
It's always miserable. We gotta look into that at some point. Now, part of it is uniquely there are only so many warm places in the American League that you can go to at the beginning of the season, right? Like there's Tampa, there's Houston, there's Arlington, there's Anaheim, and end of list.
Yeah. For a minute, Baltimore, but
yeah, I mean,
then
right?
it's
If you're
like
on,
30,
if
it was
you-
30 degrees
correct,
this morning.
and you get the right day, then you get Baltimore, and then you wake up again, and you're right at the moment where you turn the air on in your house.
Yeah. It's like psych.
And that's not an excuse. Like, they have to be better in these cold weather games.
I mean, is it that simple that you can just say, well, once the weather warms up, maybe these guys will.
Well, I think the easiest thing to say is they're going to hit more home runs when the weather warms up. But
Why won't
so
other
are,
teams? Yeah.
So are the other teams. Everyone's going to hit more home runs when the weather warms up. That's the way that it works. Now, is that more helpful for an Orioles team that has Pete Alonso, Taylor Ward, Tyler O'Neill, guys who are natural outcome types of guys?
No, we should have gone to Kansas City this week. Get some
Why?
good.
Is it nice?
Get some good promo. Well, no, it's not gonna be warm,
Oh.
but
Oh, son of a bitch.
Grateful Dead night tonight.
Okay.
Dollar
Aren't the
Dog
Orioles
night.
doing Grateful Dead night, though?
They are?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I forget when it is.
Yeah.
Dollar Dog night tomorrow.
I do love a $1 dog night. Favorite promotion in sports.
And then they're doing some color changing sunglasses on
It
Wednesday.
doesn't do as much for me, but you know,
You kidding me?
they're royal sunglasses. I'm out. I'm okay. I'll pass.
Color changing sunglasses.
All good, bro. Miss me on that one. But they've got that going for them, which is nice. What's the weather look like for Kansas City this week?
I don't think it's gonna be nice.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm checking.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the coldest series of the year, the Orioles swept against the White Sox. So I can't put it all on the weather either.
They're a cold weather team. It's actually pretty nice. What?
Oh.
This is
Oh.
Kansas City?
What's going on
60
there?
degrees right now.
All right.
And
now
it's going to get up to 70, 75.
Maybe things will turn. Maybe
Looks
things
like it'll be
will
about
turn.
75 by first pitch, and then it will cool down, obviously. But
No promises. No promises whatsoever. Anyway, yeah, Orioles-Royals, 3-game series. We'll talk about it with Jeremy Guthrie a little bit later on this hour. Also coming up in just a moment, Eric Edholm from NFL Network, NFL.com, will join us. We'll talk about the NFL draft as we are just 3 days out from round 1 of the NFL draft. And we'll go 3 up and 3 down, all of that still to come on the program today. This print issue of Press Box has been available for not quite a week. Chance for you to get out to your Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores and pick it up for free. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives into the future of the Preakness this year at Laurel and then moving back to Pimlico starting next year. What will that look like? What will the changes be? Who's in charge these days? And what are the priorities for the state when it comes to horse racing? All of that inside this print issue of Press Box. Plus, Luke Jackson dives a little bit more in on what the Ravens are getting in Trey Hendrickson. And we got some new beat writers that you can learn about for the Orioles and the Ravens inside this print issue of Press Box. All that to be found, again, for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, as well as read it all for free at PressBoxOnline.com. One other, I guess we did get confirmation the Orioles are going normal rest with their starting pitchers. Ironically, as the Orioles decide to go normal rest with the starting pitchers and have Kyle Bradish start, which I understand given the fact that they did have this stretch of 13 games in 13 days, and so they just didn't want to use another roster spot on a starter when they felt like they were going to need relievers. You can get that and make it make sense, but just in case you didn't notice, somebody made another start in the minors yesterday, and Cade Povich struck out 10 Durham Bulls yesterday. Allowed 1 run.
that's pretty good.
1-1, 5 base runners over 5 innings, struck out 10. Not suggesting he would have done that in the bigs. Not saying that it works that way. This is not a
I don't know.
transitive
Sounds
property
like you might be-
situation. Not
sounds
saying
like-
that it's that simple, but can't help but wonder if maybe after the start he made, shouldn't have ridden it out? That's the only question that I'm asking. We are 3 days away from the first round of the NFL Draft. Joining us now for the final time before the draft, let's get some pre-draft thoughts from our friend Eric Edholm, who's back with us now here on GCR from NFL.com. Eric, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing all right, yeah. Home stretch, just trying to not be distracted by too many crazy rumors, and hopefully things go somewhat according to plan on Thursday. Although, excitement is good too.
I think, it's funny because when you talk about some of the crazy rumors, I know everybody's talking about how many trades there are going to be. And I've heard all the same things, right? And I would tell you that in the little bit of poking around I've done, I've heard similar things, right? Like, this could be a wild one. I don't know, right? Like, what is actually worth trading for? Like, what are the circumstances? Because I know you had a new mock draft out, right? And I keep coming back to, you've got Ruben Bain sitting there at 11 for the Miami Dolphins. That, to me, feels like if Ruben Bain really falls to about 10 and I'm the Baltimore Ravens at 14, you were willing to trade, we think, you were willing to trade multiple first-round picks to go get Max Crosby.
Right.
Isn't that a scenario where if that guy is lingering, you go make that type of move if you can?
Yeah, especially for a team with 11 picks. Now, I know, obviously, Eric DeCosta's talked plenty about the value of said picks and what they mean for the organization.
You can't get them all on your roster. You don't have enough roster spots for all of these guys.
Right. No, I know. And I think that's going to be the type of trade we see if we do see it. I'm not as convinced there's going to be this flurry of trades, and maybe I'm wrong. It's possible. I think there will be some moves, but I do think they're going to be the short hop-up type. The Jets getting anxious about a receiver. The Ravens could spot a guy that fits their needs perfectly a couple spots ahead. Offensive line is going to be a position where there's a big run, and it's going to last somewhere between 25 and 35 picks, and in that range, I think you're going to see some people targeting the guys that they want. So I do think there may be some of those types of moves. I don't think you'll be seeing some wild trade out of left field coming up from, the middle of round 2, some blockbuster team, because this doesn't feel like a blue chip draft to me. It just doesn't feel like it's chock full of those no questions asked, gotta have them type prospects.
All right, so let me talk about, because you do have the Ravens going offensive line at 14. You have them going Fano. And that part is only interesting to me because that means that you would have Fano falling to 14. I think a lot of us have moved towards we've almost started talking about Vega Aone as if he's already a Baltimore Raven in the last couple of weeks. Why Fano still on the board at 14? And if he is still on the board at 14, is there any doubt in your mind that he would be the pick over any of the other offensive linemen that could be available there?
Yeah, good question. I don't know 100% certain. This is me kind of connecting some dots and just trying to sort of think, what would I do if I were them, putting myself in their shoes or whatever. And the way it kind of fell, Fano was there. I think the fact that he's sort of being boasted as a 5-position player, somebody who could play center, who could play guard, who could play tackle. Not every team is convinced he's a tackle, not with 32.25-inch arms. That's going to be a team-by-team decision, but he's at very at least a 3-position player, and all 3 happen to be ones that the Ravens could use. So, whereas Ioane, yes, he's played a little bit of tackle, and I think center is a possibility. He's sort of being pegged as a guard. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. He could be a Pro Bowl guard easily. There's a lot to like about his template. So, some of it's just a little bit of guesswork. Some of it is thinking positional versatility kind of matters, especially, for certain teams and certain schemes. They're going to say, we'll take a guy who could be a player at 3 different spots realistically, or 5, whatever it may be. And we think the product's going to be as good, if not better. So, we'll see. I mean, they're one of those teams that you could just see every year. It feels like they just sit back and the draft kind of comes to them, and somebody is there for them that shouldn't be there when they're picking. I mean, I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but it just sort of feels like it works out that way quite often, and a player that they could pick at a need position too. So If it happens where they have multiple options in the offensive line, that's a pretty good spot to be in at 14, I think.
Let's just say, if Fano were to be off the board at 14, is it definitively Ioane to you, or do any of the other, because you got a couple of guys going before Ioane as far as offensive linemen, Freeling and Proctor, walk me through to you how you would sort those offensive linemen in terms of value if Fano is off the board.
Yeah, no, it's a sort of a club-by-club thing. I think Freeling's a left tackle. I think Proctor is maybe a left because he played there in college, more likely a right tackle. But I think a lot of teams also see Pro Bowl potential at guard. He's a tricky one to figure out. Some of this is kind of positionally based, I think. Freeling, boy, the talent is undeniable, but he has a lot of questions too. I don't think you go into your season saying, okay, he's our left tackle. You set it and forget it. No problem whatsoever. Will Campbell was the 4th pick in the draft, and he had his hands full even with the Super Bowl season, for a good chunk of it. So, rookie left tackles are already up against it. Ones with not as much experience, it's a long-term play as well as a kind of hold your breath in the short-term kind of thing. So, Ioane, I think it probably is one of the safer picks, and that matters. I've heard teams talk about you want a bust-proof first-rounder, and then you can kind of take risks a little bit lower. That seems like a sound draft strategy, even if there is a really tempting potential star up front. So it really does depend on every club. I've had some teams kind of poo-poo linemen that other teams like. So, it's hard to give a consensus order. I think every team's going to view these guys just a little bit differently.
It's funny because, and we were talking about this last week, I am a little bit more intrigued on Freeling only because while the Ravens' needs are in the interior right now, it still kind of feels like you're on borrowed time with Ronnie Stanley. Just feels like you've kind of forgotten about how many questions there were about his injuries because he has been largely able to stay healthy for a little bit, but I don't know, man. I feel like that can kind of pop back up at any moment. And the idea of maybe having a Freeling that if he can play guard for right now, but you think is a left tackle of the future, that does seem like there's a value there that maybe goes beyond what you might get in an Ioane or, as you bring up, I don't know about Proctor. I don't know how I feel about Proctor as a tackle.
Yeah, no, look, obviously Jonathan Ogden would be the classic example of that, right?
He did
left
it.
Guard as a rookie, left tackle for years after that. Now, Jonathan could have played any position in football probably. Especially on the offensive line, but I'm convinced he could have played almost anywhere. But, yeah, that is certainly a possibility. And, look, I don't think he's going to get past Detroit at 17. So it's not like there's not a market for him. There's not Cleveland has been – firmly connected to Freeling. They've done a lot of work on him. Is he a possibility at 6? All these things have to be asked because, Cleveland, we've seen a lot of people assume that Carnell Tate is their first pick and that they'll swing back for the O tackle. I wouldn't be shocked if they played it the other way around. I think, the run may start a little sooner or go a little quicker at O tackle. So, I think 6, well, I should say that, maybe even a little higher. From about 4 to 15 is going to be a very interesting chunk of the draft. That little 1/3 of the draft, I think, is going to be maybe the most interesting.
Eric Edholm, NFL.com, with us here on Glenn Clark Radio, 3 days out from round 1 of the NFL draft. Eric, what else would it, if this guy is there at 14, maybe don't worry about your interior O-line needs. Maybe a second-round center is just fine, and you can play with the guards you have. You go draft this guy instead because they're sitting there at 14.
There's a team that picks below the Ravens that I talked to about Kenyon Sadiq, and they think he's terrific. Now, they're kind of in the same position where it's like, yeah, we could use a tight end. Do we absolutely have to go, crazy and get one? We don't have to. But if you love the player, and I think there are a handful of teams that really, really seem to appreciate him and a lot that like him, he does give effort in that regard.
I think it's almost the exact opposite problem, right, Eric? It's why wasn't he more productive? How do you explain the lack of production?
Yeah, it's good. It's not great. Right, exactly. I think the drops and the red zone drops are a little bit of a concern. We have the same question about Casey Concepcion at receiver and other guys that have been, productive, but you expect maybe a little bit more given their situation, or, they left some meat on the bone, so to speak. But, tight end's tricky. I think we've gotten lulled a little bit, with Sam Laporta and, Colston Loveland last year, Tyler Warren. We've been a little bit spoiled with some of the young tight end talent. It has been a slow developing position, but, there's some overlap to what Sadiq does and to what Isaiah Likely did. And I think, that's a possibility to go a little bit off the radar, and it would make sense to me, and I would like the pick.
The name that I was maybe too dismissive of, and maybe I'm giving too much credence to one particular person that I had spoken to about him. There's somebody in football that knows how enamored I am with Derek Mason as a football player, and then a very close personal relationship I've had with him over the years. And he said, I think Mekhi Lemon could be Derek Mason for the next 10 years. And I said, huh. And I admit that my thought at wide receiver is if you're doing something, you need size, right? Like that's what you need to pair with Zay Flowers. But is Mekhi Lemon more dynamic than perhaps I realize he is? Is he the type of guy that, despite maybe not jumping off the page at you athletically, is someone that is absolutely worth spending that early of a pick on because he's going to be productive for a very long time in this league?
Yeah, I mean, he's really the one that you have to kind of, look past the numbers a little bit in terms of the 5'11", 190 pounds, 4.5 speed. Not slow. I mean, he's not trudging out there.
Yeah.
But
he's 4'5", and we're all like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Jeez. Give me Megatron or bust, right? Yeah, I mean, those guys don't exist, but a lot of Mekhi Lemon physical specimens exist. Not a lot of people can play the game as efficiently and effectively as he can, and he's just a baller. I mean, he's really a gamer, and I think his personality was an interesting sort of test for teams. He's got a little bit of a, I don't know if aloof is the right word, sort of his personality can come off that way, and there was some question over was he truly paying attention during the receiver drills at the combine and things like that. But boy, when the tape goes on and the games are on and the lights are on, I think he plays his best. And it's been fun studying him because you do have to kind of question the measurables, but you say, hey, look, he's been getting it done consistently, and he's going to find a role in the NFL one way or the other. Is that worth the 14th pick or the 11th pick or the 18th pick in the draft? That's the question you have to ask.
Well, I think some people have argued to me that the receiver talent in rounds 2 and 3, the Chris Bells of the world, for example, are too good, and you don't take that guy there. You address the need that you have, which for the Ravens obviously is interior offensive line, and then you go get one of those receivers on night 2. What do you feel about the night 2 receivers and how good that group might be?
Yeah, and relative to this draft class, I think that's important to point out, too. I mean, Chris Bell, you got to wait because of the injury, but physically speaking, 6'3", 29, I mean, he moves well after the catch. I mean, he's got some wiggle for a bigger guy. I mean, yeah, that's exciting, right? Dejon Stribling has tested extremely well, and I think is going to be an interesting guy in the draft that goes maybe sooner than people think. Skylar Bell, same kind of thing. Like, if you love Mekhi Lemon but don't think you want to take use the 14th pick just as an example on him, then, wait till I don't know if he could get all the way, where are they picking, like 80th or something? If he got to that point, I think that would be a slam dunk in terms of, 85% of the original or 90% of what you're getting with Mekhi Lemon, you can get in Skylar Bell. So there are examples of that. If you miss on a high receiver, there are pretty good knockoffs, and I use that word in air quotes. I'm not demeaning these guys as prospects. I'm just saying they're pretty good facsimiles of what they are that you can get in rounds 2, 3, and 4, I think.
And then the guy at the receiver, you are more bullish, I think, than a lot about Omar Cooper. Maybe you just think it's the right fit, but It's funny. I had somebody else bring this up to me recently that they don't think that Omar Cooper is going to last as long as everybody else seems to think.
I had him my 27th overall player, but there's been a lot of smoke with the Rams and then the Jets also at 16. So those are both real possibilities to me. And I think once the receivers and the offensive tackles start going, they're going to go fast. So I think that's part of it.
One other name, is it worth the Ravens if this guy's on the board? Because I've spent so much time talking about like the scenario where what if Reuben Bain were to fall. But the guy that I probably haven't spent as much time as a possibility is Keldrick Falk. And I do that, I think, in part because I feel like the Ravens have been burned by edge rushers who just didn't get sacks, right? Like that just
right.
They tried that with Odafe Owe, and it finally kind of worked a little bit later on, but it really How do I explain Keldrick Falk, the player that I think he might be versus the fact that he had 2 sacks last season and just hasn't really been the dominant force to me on tape that I want him to be?
Yeah, I mean, 2024 was better, certainly, but not. It wasn't like you watched the tape and were constantly disappointed in him. I start with the fact that he's not even 21 yet, and he's already kind of a fully, man-made body. I mean, this is the guy who's ready to physically step into the NFL and play right away. And, the suddenness and the burst aren't there, which you'd normally see with, a true, like, edge bender. But I think he's going to be productive, and I think he can also kick in inside and help you out on third downs. It's kind of a pass rushing tackle. So it just kind of depends on the needs in the front you run. But I think he's going to be very, very interesting in terms of where he lands, somewhere in the middle of round 1.
Eric Edholm, anything else that we should be thinking about moving towards Thursday night that's just, it's on your brain and you find it to be relevant?
Hey, man, I'm sorry. I got to go.
Sorry. You got another one.
Out.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank
You're
you,
good,
bye.
man. Thank you, Eric. Apologies. Kept Eric Edholm way too long. That's my fault then. At Eric_Edholm. Appreciate him taking the time for us this morning as we are, again, just 3 days out from round 1 of the NFL draft. By the way, I'm apparently going to be hanging out at the Ravens draft party on Thursday night. So if you're there, yeah, for whatever reason, if you're there, stop by, say hello. I mean, Kirk McEwen will be there too, so you'll actually want to meet him. Like you want to take pictures with him, and then you might begrudgingly be like, "Oh yeah."
Well, you'll be the one taking pictures.
I had to do it with. Yeah, I'll be taking everybody's pictures with Kirk. I had to do that with Millsy on opening day. Now I got to do it with Kirk on draft night. It's gonna be.
Oh, you.
All right, yeah. I think I kind of know who you are. Like I've sort of
That voice sounds
aware of your
familiar.
existence. But hey, you want to get this pic of me and Kirk? Sure, man. I got you. No problem. That's how I'm going to be spending my draft night, is taking everybody's pictures with Kirk McEwen. Yeah, if you're there, take pity on me and come say hello to me as well while you're at the party on Thursday night at the stadium. Looking forward to that. I have no it's funny. I have my friends in the desert, as the great Brent Musburger once said. My friends in the desert have reached out to me again this year because I told everybody last year, like a month and a half out, I saw the number on safety and I said, this is a mistake. You're going to lose your ass with safety being the first position the Ravens select. And so some folks that maybe I helped out a little bit with that last year have reached out to me this year and said, all right, man, what you got? And all I've been able to say to them is not a whole lot. Truthfully, the only number. Hang on, because I don't know if FanDuel's got theirs up yet. Because I saw
they change every single day. They're like,
did FanDuel finally put up first position drafted?
No, not yet.
Okay,
not that I'd seen. I mean, but like they for other teams they had, and then they take it off the next day, and then it's back up. That's what I mean.
So DraftKings, I know, had it up in the last couple of weeks. They had O-line plus 150, wide receiver plus 250, tight end plus 350. D-line edge plus 475. It's interesting. That number has actually moved back a little bit, and so maybe there's some value there. The only place where I think there's real value is corner at plus 700, and I'm not telling you that because I think they're going to draft it. Remember, this is how crazy it is. Safety was plus 600 last year. That's how
what was the favorite?
That's how screwy the numbers were last year. I don't even remember. I don't remember what the favorite was last year. I just remember in the moment I saw that, I said, You better get on that now. Hit that now.
And maybe that had to do with where they were picking as well, where like you could kind of see.
I mean, part of
I
it
don't
was
know.
I just knew like the Ravens did not,
or that you couldn't see
for
I
whatever
guess.
reason. Last year, the Ravens did not do a good job of hiding their interest in Malachi Starks. They did not do a good job of it. It was well known. Now, sort of at first, I thought that number was a little bit off because Nick Emanwari was also in that mix, and maybe one day we'll look back and say that's the safety they should have taken. I know Ken Zales felt that way, like immediately. But I would point out that I think these numbers are largely right. Like, is edge rush maybe a little low, right? At plus 475, maybe, but I think it's also a statement that, hey, Ruben Bain's almost certainly going to be gone, and then who you taking? I brought up Falk. I mean, maybe.
At 14?
Some people think he's going before that.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just hard for me on a guy that had 2 sacks last year. It's difficult for me to buy into that. Corner's the one spot where what's a real need for the Ravens and what's a position that they love to draft? Corner. And so do I think that's what they're going to do? No. I think the offensive line is too big of a need for them to say, well, we just love McCoy, for example. We just love that guy. So offensive line be damned. We're taking McCoy. He's our guy. I can't see them doing that. But they do love corners. They love drafting corners. And I don't know. I just think that plus 700 is the wrong line for that. Particularly because, like, tight end, there's only one guy that it can be. It can only be one guy. I don't even know who is. Maybe it could only be one corner, too. Maybe McCoy's the only one. I mean, Delane, I guess, if Delane was sitting there. I mean, like, I think most people believe Delane's going before 14, but it's possible. If Delane's sitting there at 14, that they say, dude, we think this guy was the 7th best player in the draft. The hell with all the rest of it. We're doing that. And again, a lot of us are arguing they should do that with Ruben Baines. So if they feel that strongly about Delane, then why not? Remember, we didn't think safety was their need, but Kyle Hamilton was sitting there, and they said, we're taking Kyle Hamilton. We don't care what you guys think. That's what we're doing. So I don't like – that's the only number that I look at on odds, and I say
the corner one.
Yeah.
Colton Hood, I guess, would be the other.
I think that's too. I think that's too early for Colton Hood. But I know there are some that really like Colton Hood. Otherwise, it really does. It feels like the Ravens are taking an offensive lineman.
Say F it. Take D'Angelo Ponce.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the. I don't think that's what they're going to end up doing.
Went to Indiana. Take him.
I hear you. Obviously, over the weekend, the Dexter Lawrence trade. I never thought the Ravens were going to give up the 14th pick to go get Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. Would you have done it? I don't think I would have. Just because he's aging, he's disgruntled. What the Ravens,
but he's disgruntled specifically because of the contract, right?
Right. Okay. Well, they got a 1-year extension. I guess that's enough to.
I don't know. You say aging, he's 28, right?
I know. That's what I mean. Like it's.
I don't know. Would I have given up the 14th overall pick? This is the part where you need to know what the answer is on Nnamdi Madubuike. I don't need to, but they need to. Because if they're making decisions just holding out hope, it's such a difficult spot for them to be in, man. I hope that they know one way or the other. It is totally possible that Nnamdi Madubuike is like, look, man, I want to try, but I just don't know. And what a friggin' wild card that is for a football team to be dealing with. Where guy wants to play, and if he plays, he is a massive solution. But will he play? If he does, then no, I don't think there's any world where you're trading the 14th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. I don't think you can do that. as good as Dexter Lawrence is, and he is so good. If you've got Nnamdi Madubuike, I don't think you can do that because I just think you have too many other needs. But if you don't know that you have Nnamdi Madubuike, maybe I would have done it. I don't know. It's 14th. That's a hell of a pick for a defense. This is the problem, right? Like, I think Dexter Lawrence is incredible, but I also think he's a defensive tackle. And I think that any defensive tackle not named Aaron Donald, there is a limit to what their impact can be. Like, I thought paying 2 first-round picks was a hell of a price for Max Crosby, but I was willing to do it because you were getting Max Crosby. Because that guy changes things. Dexter Lawrence, to me, is a really good football player, but he's a defensive tackle. And I just don't think I can do the 14th. I don't know. But somebody would say, well, if you're going to use that 14th pick on a guard, what the hell is the difference?
Sure.
Yeah. Right? Like, how much more valuable is a guard than a defensive tackle? Damn it. I'm talking my way through it, and I'm coming back to...
Well, what about now is it just Harbaugh trying to blow smoke, and say, oh, we're thinking about Awani at 10 just to, try to psych out the Ravens?
Absolutely could be thinking about Awani at 10. Like, I think, of course he could be. I think we've all defaulted to Awani being the guy, and it might very well be that Awani ends up being the guy. I would tell you that I have certainly not heard anything that dissuades me from the Ravens being interested in Awani. But I also don't know that it's as simple as Awani or bust, as much as it's more like the practical, well, Fano will probably be off the board by that point. Maui Noah, and now there's some injury stuff with Maui Noah. So Awani just might be sitting there, and boy, doesn't he just look like a Raven and the kind of player that the Ravens love. Like, we're doing some of that. But in the end, he's still a guard. And again, I go back to this corner thing where, like, they might just say, we love Awani.
If they draft Awani, they should extend him draft night, right? So that way we don't have to deal with the 5th round or the fifth year option thing.
You can't do that. You cannot.
Or
cannot do
or
that.
just do it.
You can't.
Or
you literally cannot. I don't know.
start doing like MLB contracts.
If you were forcing me, if you forced me to put American dollars on a player, yeah, I'd probably put those American dollars on Awani, right? Like, I think that's the most likely scenario that plays out. But
yeah, but then to your point, if Sadiq is there, if Lemon's there, and they're like, well, we had this guy as a top 10 pick, and they add in the value of the position. They just think that the position has more value than guard. Now that's tricky, right? Because then it does your season get doomed by trying to make Emory Jones and Corey Bullock work? Does that ruin your season? Or Andrew Voorhees and Corey Bullock? To the point that Eric Edholm brings up about Fano, like, that could actually be your starting center. Like, it could be that come week 1, he's your center. And is also your answer at some point if Ronnie Stanley gets hurt. Now, got to figure out. It seems like there needs to be an in-between on those things, but, I get it. Also, yes, thank you, John. I was not here on Friday, so I didn't get to talk about the uniforms. I would tell you, and I think I've said this on Twitter, I would tell you that, frankly, I rolled my eyes about them doing all of this related to the uniforms, and as I told you guys, I kind of didn't like the idea of the Ravens having new uniforms, and I ultimately have to give the Ravens credit in the end. In the end, they really didn't change much. And to me, that's a good thing. They didn't need to change much. I do think the black helmet looks good. I don't think they needed. I don't know that I love getting rid of the gold outline, but I don't think any of this. That seems like really the only main.
Yeah, I don't think any of this looks bad in getting rid of the gold outline. Obviously, everybody's the wings around the neck, the Ravens' wings, I think look good. I think they were very smart, subtle changes, and they keep Ravens uniforms looking like Ravens uniforms, which to me is exactly what you should be doing. Subtle changes. That's it. Subtle. And then you can say, hey, well, did you need to do a whole event, for the changes that were this small? Everybody's that went seemed to have a good time.
I didn't sense that anybody that was there was
sell
like
more PSLs. I guess.
like what a waste of my time going to this event. It seemed like everybody who went had a good time. You know, got to meet some former Ravens. Got to, you know, to hear from the coach. It was free, right? Like it's not like you charge people money.
Well, you had
to go to this
PSL
thing.
owner,
Right. Right. So you're already talking about the hardest of the hardcore fans. I didn't hear anybody complaining about this event on Thursday night. It's easy to say, like, really, you did all this for that to be your changes?
I think Jeff was complaining because he had to be there.
Who? Jeff?
Zaribek.
I probably wouldn't have. I mean, if I'm not getting paid anymore, I probably wouldn't have necessarily wanted to work another event. And it's uniforms. It's not whatever, man. Everybody that went seemed to have a good time. I think the uniforms look good. This to me was a win for the Ravens. I think Mike Preston got a lot of flack because he said nobody cares about uniforms, just win, right? And like I know what he means. What he means is when you win, nobody really gives a rat's ass.
As long as it's not black and yellow.
Right. Like, but really, if you win the Super Bowl wearing the mustard pants, you know what? You won the Super Bowl. Who gives a rat's ass that you look like idiots doing it? And I remember Dominique Foxworth and I had that conversation when Maryland brought out the crazy uniforms for the first time. Dom and I were texting that night. And I was like, I don't understand all the negativity towards it, right? Like, it's over the top. Like, it had so much flag. But I love the flag. This was the Miami game on Labor Day. I don't remember what year this was. This was like 2010 or 11 or something like that. And it was, I think it was Randy Edsall's first game as coach, maybe. So 10. I'm going to guess it was 10, if I remember correctly. And I remember, like, I think he said, like, if they win, they can be naked for all I care. And that was exactly the way I felt. Like, I don't really care that much about this. I care about whether you win. And I think that Mike's point where it got lost was he said nobody cares about uniforms. That's not true. People care about uniforms. People really do care about uniforms. Probably entirely too much about uniforms.
Well, I mean, it's the merch that you're going to buy and you're going to wear.
All that stuff. Yeah. Like, people do care about it. You're wrong. People care a lot about uniforms. But the way to say it is maybe we care too much about uniforms, and maybe the uniforms don't ultimately matter. What really matters is whether or not they win. And you'd be right about that. That is correct. At the end of the year, if you think the uniforms look nice today, you're not going to say when they lose in the first round of the playoffs, you know, that doesn't really matter to me because the uniforms look nice. You're not going to think that, even a little bit. All you're going to think about is how they lost. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that was the first time, right? That was at the old stadium formerly known as Bird Stadium.
That was 2011, I believe.
2011?
Yeah.
All right, you might be right. I don't remember. It was Labor Day. Is that correct? It was definitely a Labor Day.
Yeah,
night.
I think
like
so.
It was the whole country was watching the game because it was the only game that was on, and so everybody around the country, like I was doing hits all over the country talking about Maryland's football uniforms.
Apparently LeBron tweeted, "Oh gosh, Maryland, ew."
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that. And me personally, I'm like, yo, put the flag on everything, right? Like, put it on as everything you can.
Jim Rome said, whatever the NCAA does to Miami, it should double what they do to Maryland. Those helmets are
a lot of that.
Demonstrate a lack of institutional control.
A lot of that going on. It was a lot of conversation, man. It was explosive for 24 hours. Again, because it was the only game that was on.
Freddie Adu.
Everybody was watching. Well, Freddie Adu is also from here.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't like him.
I mean, with all due respect, Freddie.
University of Maryland's football team have some ugly jerseys.
A lot of that. There was a lot of that going on, man. But you know what? If they had won, I wouldn't have cared. The problem is they didn't win. Also, I didn't think the jerseys looked all that bad. I mean, it was probably too much with the shoulders, but like if it had just been the uniform with the flag helmet, I think it would have been better.
Time to bring it back. Yeah,
look, man, you know how I feel. The flag helmet is the answer. We'll come back in. We'll go 3 up and 3 down for the week of Orioles baseball. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. 443results.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives in on how different Preakness will be temporarily at Laurel Park and then long-term once it returns to Pimlico. Also inside, Luke Jackson learns more about what Trey Hendrickson will bring to the Ravens. And Karuga Koinange looks at how Samuel Basayo is influencing the Orioles' international signing efforts. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
I was going to let you go ahead and hit the open.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, that
okay.
was it's all right. It's okay. I'll just keep going.
You could have told me that, maybe.
Well, I did say we were coming back with you.
Three up.
And 3 down.
Well then, let's go 3 up and 3 down for a 2-5 week of Orioles baseball. 3 up and 3 down is brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson coming up at 5 o'clock today. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan Show is brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn, with 2 great locations, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium. I guess we start with up this week because it was a shorter list of up candidates. I thought there were really only 3, frankly, and it was just what order am I going to put numbers 2 and 3 in. I ultimately decided to go Tavares 3. He got on base in 11 of his 22 plate appearances for the week. That's pretty good.
Thank you, Leote.
That's pretty good. Unfortunately, it's funny. I was talking about him on the pregame show on Saturday, and then he hits the home run, and I had a few people reach out to me, like, fired up about it, and then that was all the Orioles. That was all they bothered to do. Didn't bother to do anything else.
They did. They scored one more run, right? Yeah. Is that Gunnar? That was Gunnar's line.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Tavares, number 3.
Yeah, he's my number 3 as well. He's the team center fielder. That's
right now, there's no debate about that. There is no argument.
Kind of can't take him out of the lineup.
Yes, he is the center fielder on this team until something changes. No doubt about that.
Apparently, when they face a lefty, then he's not the center fielder.
And then it could be anybody. I mean, it could be Sam Huff, actually, in that scenario. Rico Garcia, number 2. It just keeps happening. This is insane. 10 innings, no hits. Not a single hit. 3 base runners through 10 innings. to start the season.
What do we do when he does
bonkers
give up a hit? Are we gonna?
We
like,
don't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Our civilization might crumble at that point. I'm not sure. It is insanity what Rico Garcia is doing, and it's also just awesome because he's great. Rico Garcia, number 2 for this week.
Yeah, he was my number 2 as well.
Well, how about
Seeing
that?
the board well.
Very good. Then we can obviously get the number 1 being Shane Wait.
Right.
No. Obviously, number 1 was Jeremiah Jackson.
It's Jeremiah Bonds Jackson.
Thank you very much. What does it mean, right? Like on Saturday, I was having that conversation on the radio. I don't know what the conversation is, truthfully. I have no idea how to talk about Jeremiah Jackson. Do you need to keep finding ways to have him in the lineup when Jackson Holiday returns? Yeah, I think you do. But when is Jackson Holiday returning? Oh, no. I don't know, Scoop. I ain't got an answer on that. So at the moment, you're kind of solving a problem that doesn't exist. When Jeremiah Jackson, if he were to cool off, then maybe it's less of a conversation, and we just remember the really incredible 3 weeks that Jeremiah Jackson had. Remember, once upon a time, Colton Cowser was the greatest player in the history of baseball. And we're about to talk to him about him in a different way here in a second. So I don't know. Obviously, he can play some corner outfield. And Tyler O'Neill, we think, is going to return this week. So I don't know how much corner outfield is available. I mean, they're going to play Tyler O'Neill for as long as he's healthy because he's not going to be healthy for very long.
It's weird that they're just pretending that Jonathan Rodriguez is Tyler O'Neill as well.
It is kind of a wacky bit, isn't it? Yeah, right? Why not? Why not? He's big. I mean, he's got that going for him. We tried to solve this a week ago because we thought Jackson Holiday. The way that they talk about Jackson Holiday, I'm not certain he's definitely going to be back before Jordan Westberg is.
I mean, he's at least playing baseball.
Yes,
so
that is true. He played for the Frederick Keys this weekend, so hopefully he will come back. And then you deal with it when you deal with it. But I don't know. I don't know what the line is between Jeremiah Jackson, guy who's having an electric couple of weeks, versus Jeremiah Jackson, true diamond in the rough find that could have a Ryan O'Hearn type of role for the next 3 years for the Orioles. I couldn't tell you which of those two things
or 10
is more likely at the moment. Yeah, sure. Straight shoot. I had a friend of ours who always makes fun of every time I have an extension conversation. A former Oriole.
The how do you talk about your kids bit?
Yeah. No, he texted me and said, I would extend Jeremiah Jackson. And I was like, LOL. He's like, no, I'm not kidding. Not kidding. I'd do it. I mean, who knows? I mean, he was once a very thought of prospect, obviously, in the Angels system. And then
they DFA'd him, right? Is that what
it was? I think, yeah, they DFA'd him, but it was complicated, right? Like, he lost the entire season, the COVID year, and then there were a couple.
Did he opt out or?
Yeah.
Okay.
There were there was no minor league baseball.
Right.
He didn't opt out. They just didn't,
okay. Yeah,
they didn't have a season.
Play. Okay, right. Because I'm thinking of Adley still practiced a little bit with the team, I guess, because they wanted him to.
Well, there was they did a camp or something like that
right.
for minor leaguers, but he didn't have a season to keep producing and keep on the trajectory, and then he got hurt after that. And he still had moments during his minor league career, but ultimately they waived him. He goes to the Mets, and again, he has moments in the Mets system, but the Mets now no longer see him with the value that the Angels did because he wasn't their draft pick. So they're not prioritizing him. He, I think, just elected free agency at the end of the 2024 season.
Correct.
Ends up in Baltimore, rips the cover off the ball in Norfolk. We're all like, who the hell is this guy? And he gets here, and he's produced. And again, it might be real. I mean, he was helpful last year. I think last year is more – you can look at that and say, could Jeremiah Jackson be that? I think that's the high end, maybe. Is something like a 268 to 286 hitter with a little bit of pop and value because he can play a few different positions. Like, that to me is a reasonable expectation for Jeremiah Jackson. But I don't know. It's awesome. It's awesome right now. It's good, happy for him. It's very cool. It's a shame they don't have a few more Jeremiah Jacksons on the team.
What if they had 9 of them?
That would be really helpful if they had that. He was number 1. Down, obviously, a lot more candidates, but I ultimately was able to center in on 3. My number 3 is Dylan Beavers, 2 for 16, 6 strikeouts for the week. They put him in as a pinch hitter, and you were like, you know what the word hitter means. Like, he's supposed to be able to hit. Although, didn't he have the Didn't he have the little dribbler that they misplayed, and so it kept the inning alive yesterday when he pinch hit?
Yeah, he had. Yeah, that was yesterday. Jeez. Yeah.
It was a disaster.
That was a weird.
It was a very weird
Cleveland.
inning for Brito in particular, right? Like that guy had a weird 4 days. But yeah, it's a bummer because, well, I'll get to number 2 in a second. But Dylan Beavers is number 3.
Gotcha. I don't know what order. I went with Beavers isn't on my list. I mean, again, I feel like there's like 8 hitters that could have been on this list probably this week. Mayo was my number 3.
Okay.
I mean, he was bad.
The only difference I would bring up is that
he
was really good defensively. He was really good defensively this week, and so that made some difference.
I'd feel better about him if his defense was bad.
Oh, I agree 100%. It is not
the ball more than twice a week.
1,000% agreement. I would prefer for him to be proving to be the bat that we need him to be, and not being the defensive third baseman. He's actually been a really, I would say, good to plus. I haven't looked at his baseball savant. I don't know if we have enough data to know what they think yet. But to me, he's looked like almost a plus defensive third baseman at times. Like, he really has been, to me, good and made some difficult plays last week.
They still list him as a first baseman, so probably not.
They don't. I mean, right now they don't even have all they have for him for fielding is range. Well, range, he's in the 80th percentile.
Yeah, he's got 1 route above average. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's been good defensively at third base. It's just that, yes, he's not hitting for a lick, and so we don't care that he's been good defensively at third base. That's why we say, Jeremiah Jackson could play there, but they don't like Jeremiah Jackson apparently as a defensive third baseman. They didn't like Kobe Mayo as a defensive third baseman either, and turns out he can play the position. But no, I get it. He's been very disappointing. Number 2 is Colton Cowser. It's abominable. I mean, it's just unfathomable how bad Colton Cowser is. And I'm someone who is down on Colton Cowser, and I can't believe how bad it is.
Yeah.
1 for 17, 7 strikeouts.
And not competitive, whatsoever.
Not at all.
All you have to, I could strike him out because I can't hit, more than 77.
That's a great point. If you could throw a fastball, he'd have a shot.
Yeah.
But because you don't have a fastball, you're good. It's insane. I don't know what's happened here, but I don't think he can be at the major league level much longer.
They have to. I mean, I guess since they're so banged up, they don't really have any choice. They don't have a choice to keep him up here. But
you say that, right?
You have to option him.
I think you have to. I think that Colton Cowser, value-wise, it's more important that he figures out what the F is going on than that you keep him here to have another option. Right?
I mean, I think I prefer him than Jonathan Rodriguez right now, but
if Tyler O'Neill comes back this week, I think you're right that they will just send Jonathan Rodriguez back down. But
another week of this.
I don't know, man. Like, obviously you saw the play on Saturday night, which was a nice play. You got to give him credit. Like, that was a really it was Friday night. Friday night he made that play. Yeah. It was a really nice play, and I do have to give him credit for that. But we don't have any questions about Colton Cowser's ability as a corner outfielder. We know that he is a good to plus corner outfielder. But to be a corner outfielder, you have to hit. You have to. You can be a plus defensive center fielder. You can't. I mean, nobody can hit like this. And I mean, this is awful. You can be a plus defensive center fielder, and that can make up for, hey, you're not quite as good with the bat. But you can't say, well, I'm a plus right fielder. No, man. Like, that's a great play. But you can't be a plus right fielder and hit like this. I mean, this is dreadful. Dreadful. And it sucks, right? Like, I get it. We all like Moo. We all like my sons like saying Milkman. Like, they like all that stuff. But this is
He always
awful.
delivers.
No, when?
Well, not yet this
awful.
year. But
it's awful. And unfortunately, number one this week.
I didn't
there
get to
was.
say my number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's why he's my number one. Colton Cowser.
Oh, Colton Cowser is your number one.
I mean,
unfortunately,
it was terrible.
The cost to me is too much with the other guy.
I maybe because I just give him a pass because he's been so good.
I
Trevor
understand
Rogers
that,
is
but
my
this
number
week
2.
he was not so good. He was awful this
He
week.
grinded through 5 innings.
That doesn't mean anything when you're giving up 6 runs.
Yeah, but it was against Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, it does not mean anything when you're
Famer.
giving up 6 runs that you got through 5 innings. He was awful this week. 10 runs over 2 starts.
Struck out 11 guys still.
Great. He was awful. And it's more difficult because, again, what you need from Trevor Rogers is more than that. And that we can say is not fair to Trevor Rogers. It's not fair that we've decided he's the ace, but he needed to be your stopper. And if Trevor Rogers had gone out twice this week and been the stopper and you win those 2 games, then all of a sudden the 2-5 week is a 4-3 week and you feel pretty good about it. You needed Trevor Rogers. And again, that's a multi-pronged conversation because it might not be fair to Trevor Rogers that you're asking that of him. The reality might be that Trevor Rogers is really a number 3 starter. But this is what the Orioles have to have. This puzzle doesn't work without those 2 guys. One who's been bad the entirety of the season. The other one who had been really good. Had been great until this week. Those 2 guys have to be really good for this team to have any hope. Any hope whatsoever. Fair or unfair to them, that's the reality for the Orioles. Kyle Bradish and Trevor Rogers have to be excellent. Or there has to be something that we couldn't see coming. The cost, it adds a significant cost for the Orioles that Trevor Rogers stunk this week, and that's a bummer. But he's number 1 because of it. We'll get that up at GlennClarkRadio.com here momentarily. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit. We'll get tubular, and then we will chat with Jeremy Guthrie about Orioles Royals getting underway tonight. That's all on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your number 1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs in the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Monday edition of the program. Before we chat with Jeremy Guthrie, let's get a tidbit. Let's get tubular. I'm trying to think of what else we needed to talk about from the weekend. Hopkins got a great big win over Maryland, obviously, on Saturday. They're the top seed in the Big Ten tournament. Maryland has to play next Saturday, and again, this goes back to, like, is Maryland safely in the tournament or not? And, I mean, if they were to lose, then they'd finish the season 500, right? Like, I think they've done enough to be in, but I don't know that they've done enough to be in. Like, there's something to be – there's still something to be sorted out there. Bummer for Loyola as they fell to Army, and so now them, Army, and BU are all tied atop the Patriot League standings going into the final night of the regular season on Friday night. And Towson clinched another CAA title.
Of course we did.
Yeah, I don't know what the line is between, like, what it says about Towson versus what it says about the rest of the CAA. Like, clearly they're the class of the CAA, but I feel like the distance between the other teams in the CAA is...
Should we try to get into the Big Ten, I guess? Is that
Maybe it's time, right? Maybe it's time to make that jump.
Brian Powell really wanted me to share the Collison goal from for Hopkins on us.
Is that just something we do now? Is that just whatever Brian Powell wants? We just
typically
do that?
Isn't that what we always?
I don't
done?
think that's the case. I mean, okay.
There's the Collison goal. Is he just?
It was wild. Like, it was wild. No doubt about it. It was wild.
What do you mean? We always do what Brian wants.
Okay, I mean, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. All of a sudden, we're going to talk about the Patriots more, who I guess are getting A.J. Brown after all.
He hasn't explicitly asked us to talk about the Patriots.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not talking about Duke. I know that much. That ain't occurring. But, yeah, there was a report from Adam Schefter this morning that apparently the Patriots are going to end up landing A.J. Brown. It's still weird wording.
The old delayed trade.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to get through the draft, so nobody knew. Like, nobody knew the Eagles were going to do it. It's weird. It's sort of like where the Ravens were with Hollywood Brown.
It's without Diana Rossini. No one knows how to report on the Eagles.
That's a great point, right? That's a great point. But yeah, Adam Schefter dropped like a column with a lot of his
draft,
what he's hearing ahead. No matter what happens at this week's draft, an A.J. Brown trade to the Patriots is still on the table and still tracking to happen on or after June 1st, per league sources. The two sides have discussed a deal, but neither has been willing to commit to it until after June 1st, when Brown's $40 million salary cap charge would be split between this year and next. So that's the word from Adam Schefter. Paints it as though it's more and more likely that that's something that's going to occur. And then, was there anything else from this weekend that we needed to cover? Oh, DJ Wagner transfers to Maryland. In name, it's a big get, obviously, but in actual production, DJ Wagner has not been the surefire prospect that everyone thought he was a couple of years ago. He's been okay. Like, okay. I actually don't really know what you're getting in DJ Wagner. DJ Wagner, his first season at Kentucky, averaged 10 points a game, then goes to Arkansas with John Calipari and averages 11.2 points per game, and then last year 7.4 points per game.
No, because of Acuff, right? That was the...
I mean, he was definitely the point guard. There's no doubt about that. I don't know, man. Like, I get it because DJ Wagner's a name. It's a little bit...
Is it weird because why would he want to leave Calipari? Or?
I think that's certainly a question. I think there's... I mean, that...
Well, obviously, everyone knows Buzz is better than John Calipari.
I mean,
the track record is just
when you got the chance,
undeniable.
when you have that opportunity to leave John Calipari to work with Buzz Williams, you just can't say no to that. I just don't know how much it really helps and how good Maryland actually is. They had to go get guys in the transfer portal. They've got guys. But it also seems like ultimately their season's really going to depend on just how good Baba is. And, just how good Caden House is. Yeah, I mean, they certainly have some bigs as long as Pharrell Payne gets a waiver and the kid, Boljan from New Mexico. Boyan, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Sure. They've got guys that are bigs, but they can't stretch the floor. I don't know. Patrick will be on with us this week. I don't know because we might change the schedule around a little bit this week, so we'll figure out when we're doing that. But I don't look at them and suddenly say well, they got DJ Wagner. That's the piece they were missing. It seems like a team that if everything goes right, they could be a bubble team next year. That's what they look like to me. But, crazy things happen sometimes. Guys are maybe this is the year where DJ Wagner finds the assertiveness that, for whatever reason, has just not been there. He shot a little bit better from 3 last year than he did the 2 years before.
I think it feels like a bigger win because, Villanova had been talking to him. And we
right.
got him over
There's that whole you beat Kevin Willard for a guy thing. Sure. Towson got a Villanova guy, right?
That's true. We did.
Zion Stanford,
yeah, Zion Stanford.
Right? I think
sounds like player of the year already.
Right. Though somebody said that last night. I think Rothstein said that. Sure.
Which I guess I don't know. Does that mean Pat was saying that to him?
Very excitable boy, John Rothstein. Very excitable boy.
Well, guess what? I'm all in. So
good.
It worked.
Good. There you go. Problem solved. They got Zion Stanford. I don't know.
Womack's back.
Okay, good. That's a nice piece.
Among other guys.
Yes.
Let's see who else is coming back.
All right, enough. We're not doing.
No, we can do Towson Corner.
I think that's it. I think that's everything that needed to cover from the weekend. I think that we've touched on all of the main talking points. So let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website. Everything you want to know about high school sports in the state of Maryland. They've got you covered. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com.
The guy we saw over the weekend playing for Cleveland, he had another multi-home run game, the 28th multi-home run game of his career for Jose Ramirez.
Decent.
9th most among active players, multi-home run games.
All right. Let's try Paul Goldschmidt.
Hold on, I'm frozen here. Goldie is at 27. He's just behind.
What a loser.
So actually, he is tied for 9th. So there's 9 other guys with 28 or more multi-home run games. So 9.
Trout,
yes, 31. He is tied for 5th.
Harper,
yes, 30. Right, one behind Trout.
Machado.
Manny is number 2 among active players, 43 multi-homer games.
He always did have a penchant for
stringing them together.
Yeah, right. He really did. How about a Judge?
Judge is number 1, 47 multi-homer games.
Stanton
is number 3.
At this point, just trying to think of guys that hit a lot of home runs. I'm not trying to do anything other than that. How about Mookie?
Mookie is on there, 5th, or tied for 5th with Mike Trout.
Schwarber
is 4th. Got all the top 7, missing 8, and a guy tied with Jose.
Arenado?
Not Arenado. He is, even though he hit one obviously against the O's this week. He's at 25, so 14th.
Freddie Freeman?
Not Freddie Freeman. He's at 22, so 20th on the list.
How about wild card Altuve?
No Altuve.
Okay.
Altuve is outside the top 20.
Just because I know he's not a home run hitter, but he's God damn. Salvi.
No. Salvi, even though he probably will hit one, he'll probably have a multi-homer game against the O's this week.
How about Pete Alonso?
Pete Alonso's right outside. He's at 26.
Bum.
Alonso,
he's
12th.
He should be ashamed of himself that he hasn't caught up by now.
Yeah. he should take it personal.
I don't know, man. This is tricky now. How about I'm trying to think of guys like, is this one of these like, do I not remember that this guy's active at this point?
No, they're well, one guy, he's currently injured, but he had a good year last year. When healthy, he's pretty good.
Currently injured, had a good year last year. Currently injured.
Actually, these guys are both currently injured, both on the IL. One will probably have a longer stay. The other one's hopefully back.
Currently
shortly.
Injured. That's the problem. Is I don't
and
play.
Both their teams are.
I don't play fantasy baseball, so I don't know who's hurt. Unless the Orioles have played them and they didn't play, I don't know that they're hurt. This really doesn't help me.
Both their teams are underachieving this year.
Both
disappointing
teams
start.
are off to disappointing starts. The Royals are off to a disappointing start.
I mean, the Royals are off to a disappointing
The
start.
Blue Jays are off to a disappointing start. Springer?
George Springer has 29 multi-homer games. Pretty solid last year.
The Red Sox are off to a disappointing start.
They are.
It's not a Red Sox.
Not a Red Sox.
Who else is off to a disappointing start to the season? The Astros?
Not an Astro.
But they are off to a disappointing start, right?
Yes,
I am right about that?
I think they're below 500 or something.
How about the Mets? They've stunk.
Mets are terrible.
Lindor?
Hurt. No, not Lindor. Lindor's been bad, but he's been playing.
Who's hurt? Who's hurt for the Mets?
He's got a little calf going on.
That doesn't help me at all. I don't know.
You clearly don't play fantasy baseball.
Don't play fantasy baseball. I don't know who's hurt. All right, well, I'm just guessing guys that are Mets then. Soto?
Yeah, Juan Soto.
Okay, I didn't know. I had no idea he was hurt.
Hopefully it's a minimum stay, but I don't know. It's a calf, so you never know.
No idea.
28 multi-homer games tied with Jose. So those are your top 10 multi-homer guys.
It's so funny. There was a host on the old radio station that doesn't exist anymore. There was a host on the weekends who ended up, I think, briefly being the afternoon host, named Rex Snyder. And I remember, like, he sent this, like, I don't want to call it a manifesto because it wasn't, like, bizarre, but he sent this missive in an email one time to the entire staff of the station
about 8-15. I didn't realize they were
they're not
bad.
good. About how we all needed to be in a fantasy baseball league.
It just help you with knowing baseball better.
And I was like, dude, I do not have the time for it. And he followed up because I think he started, like, the first email was just like, I think we should start a fantasy baseball league. And I replied all and was like, man, I'm sorry. I don't have the time. It's too much. And he sent back this missive about how for our conversation every day, it's important that we're following baseball the way that we follow football and that we know what's going on. And at the time, the Orioles were not good and the Orioles not being good. So it's easy for us to check out on baseball. And like, it was one of those, like,
making some good points.
What's the tweet that everybody always sends? I ain't reading all that.
But I'm sorry that happened to you.
I'm sorry that
or
good for you, or
yeah.
I'm sorry that that happened. Like, that was sort of it was way too long. And I remember, like, months, this was perhaps when Mike Trout got called up. And we were talking about Mike Trout. And I remember Rex, like, sending a follow-up email. Like, went back and found that email that he had sent. This is the reason why I know this email exists. Because he sent a follow-up. Because in that email, he said, and we would have been talking about Mike Trout. We would have been on top of it. We would have been the authority for this. And it was in there. Like, he had said, we need to know about who the guys are that are on the radar so that when they, like, he was right. I mean, he was 100% right.
I mean, I do. That's why I love fantasy. Like, it's easy to.
If I had the time,
makes
man,
it more helpful to just.
And by the way, at
every team.
The truth is, at the time, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I actually probably had the time. I probably did, but I was covering the Ravens on a day-to-day basis, and so I had to really be, like, zoned in on the draft and really be all over free agency.
Despite playing fantasy basketball, I still can't tell what's going on in the NBA.
I know the Suns.
Regular season.
The Suns are going to get a participation trophy for the postseason.
Played one game
because they got their brains beat in. I mean, like, just utterly demolished. Now, I get it. The Thunder do that to a lot of teams, but they got their brains beat in.
It is the Thunder.
The wild one from the weekend in the playoffs was, how about the Orlando Magic?
Yeah.
Break up the Magic. Franz Wagner, baby. Jalen Suggs, who's related to Terrell Suggs.
He is, or
I don't have no idea if he's related to Terrell Suggs or not.
I don't think so.
Is Jalen Suggs? I genuinely don't know. Hang on a second. Is Jalen Suggs related? He is the second cousin of Terrell Suggs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought there might be something there. Yeah, big win for the Magic. Go into Detroit, take Game 1 against the Pistons. That was a shocker from the weekend. Might not mean anything at all, but a reminder that the Pistons kind of haven't been there yet either, right? Like we've been talking about the Spurs. The Spurs look the part. I'll be the guy that says the thing that doesn't. I'll be the guy. I'll be that asshole.
Thank you.
Everybody else loved the Spurs thing last night. They all loved the aesthetic.
Oh, I'm like the little throwback and the rainbow.
I like the Raiders colors. I like the Spurs being the team that you love to hate. Like, I like this is Robert cheap. This was prime cheap shot
being
Bob,
the Death Star
right? Like Greg Popovich was an asshole. Tim Duncan was the nicest guy in the world, but like so unfun to watch play basketball because he just didn't do anything other than he was the big fundamental, right? Like that's what he was. The Spurs and the games would be in like the 70s and the 80s. They'd be unwatchable basketball, right? And the color scheme fit. And you were just like, God, I love to hate the Spurs. Now, I get it. Pop softened, and he's not even the coach anymore. Victor Wembanyama is,
he's an alien.
Definition of what European players have brought to basketball. Like, he's unlike anything we've ever seen. But I miss the Evil Empire Spurs, and that aesthetic to me worked. Like when I think of the Spurs, I don't think of colors and vibrancy. I also did enjoy though the bit where like they apparently were putting, so they give out all these T-shirts, color coordinated T-shirts, and then during like the breaks, they would find people sitting in a section that didn't have their T-shirt on, and they would put them up on the screen and shame them into putting the T-shirt.
That's pretty good.
It's a good bit. It was a very good bit.
I mean, I guess, yeah, it would be nice to have basketball.
In Baltimore? It would be amazing. I can't tell you how, like, life-changing it was for me to go to Phoenix and, like, and have an NBA team. It was unbelievable, man. Like, it was just so much joy. But it's never happened. It's never happened. Rashawn, longtime sports radio caller in town, Rashawn was in Cleveland for the Cavaliers-Raptors game because,
nice.
As I always say to Rashawn, I don't know where your money's coming from, bro. Like, because that guy is everywhere.
Yeah, John brings up, I got to go to a Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, yeah, that scene
cow.
was wild. That scene was wild in Buffalo. That was crazy, man. I don't know. I've not been able to pay much attention to the results in the hockey so far, but I did see all
lost,
of the.
Yeah, so
okay.
I think the Flyers won. So I guess that will upset Drew. But I was trying. I watched like a couple minutes of that game, and I was like, I can't root for the Penguins. There's just nothing.
I don't know why you would hate why would anybody? I don't understand the hate for the Flyers. Like, I don't get that. It's a Drew thing. It goes back decades to like when the Capitals were god awful. Like, I can't imagine that. And but I also, it's not for me. I don't have a team. I don't have a hockey team, so I'm just not going to be as invested in the hockey playoffs. But I did see all the pictures of the Sabres. Mm-hmm. I did see all the videos and all of it. That was great. That was tremendous. All right. We finished tidbits, so why don't we do this?
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise this evening. Orioles do shift to Kansas City for the first of 3 against the Royals. 7:40 tonight on Masson, Kyle Bradish, and Seth Lugo. And for whatever reason, that's also on FS1 in the rest of the country. So if you don't live here, like John in Little Rock, you'll still be able to watch the game. I'm trying to, John, if I missed anything, what else did he say?
He said it was a lame crowd from San Antonio with the color wheel game.
I don't know. Everybody on the internet seemed to love it. Like, everybody on the internet seemed to be into it. I had never seen the drum thing they do at the end of games. Like, they do.
I think they've been doing that.
I had
least
never.
In the Wemby era.
I had never seen that, and so I for whatever reason I watched a good bit of that game last night as I was doing some work. It is what it is. Dave wants to know how I felt about WrestleMania. I have not even finished night 2 of WrestleMania. And truth be told, I watched night 1 on double speed.
Was that entertaining?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to watch it live because I had lacrosse all day on. My Saturday was Loyola, Army, Orioles pregame, Stevenson. Like, it was a hell of a Saturday for me.
Nice.
So at the end of the night, I sat down to try to watch, and all of the feedback was so overwhelmingly negative that I said, I'm going to go ahead and put this on double speed. And I think really happened? I put it on double speed to get through, like, the first entrance because, like, at Wrestlemania, it's a football stadium.
Though.
So you have these forever entrances.
I would slow down the entrance.
Yeah, and then double speed the matches.
Yeah, speed up the matches.
And then I think I put double speed on just for the entrance, just to get through it, and then I just left it on double speed and didn't feel like I had missed a whole heck of a lot. But
well, you missed a ton.
Brock Lesnar's not retiring. He's not retiring.
What do you mean? He took his gloves off.
This is what happens when you don't.
Obafemi's just that dude.
Obafemi is that dude. He is clearly the guy. And will probably be facing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the belt. But Brock Lesnar is going to face Gunther because Gunther
Was Gunther doing anything this weekend?
Yeah, he beat Seth Rollins.
Oh, he did. Okay.
With some help from Braun Breaker, who came back. Gunther.
Braun Breaker's helping Gunther?
Gunther was a hired gun from Paul Heyman to take out Seth Rollins. And so Gunther is now owed a favor by Paul Heyman.
So Seth Rollins is back babyface? Is that?
Yeah, he's back as babyface. But Paul Heyman...
Seth freaking Rollins. Sorry, Mr. Mr.
Use
freaking Rollins.
Please use his biblical name. Thank you. His full government name, obviously. So now Gunther is owed a favor by Paul Heyman. So Brock Lesnar's suggesting he's going to retire, but now there's a favor owed. And so Gunther is going to say, no, he has to face me. Wouldn't you know where SummerSlam just so happens to be this year?
I was in Minnesota.
It is in Minnesota. So where do you think Brock Lesnar is going to retire? In Vegas or in Minnesota?
I mean, well, he just retired in Vegas, so Vegas.
He didn't retire. He took off his gloves. I emotionally, this is one of my favorite stories. My buddy Chris reminded me of it. One time.
I think ESPN had the whole graphic. It said retired.
Yeah.
Picture of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. How dare. A lot of people have
real,
a lot of opinions. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about ESPN's pro wrestling coverage this weekend. What do you want them to cover instead? They're not good at it.
Lacrosse, I guess.
What are you really? Are you really mad they're not talking more about hockey because you're just going to get mad about? Imagine Stephen A. Smith and Brian Windhorst attempting to talk about hockey.
Well, they had PK Subban, and PK's pretty good.
That part is true. They're not going to let
also
PK Subban talk. They're not going to let those guys.
And Wayno.
They'll let those guys talk about hockey before the hockey games. They're not going to put them on the. Why are you mad? Why are you watching these shows? This isn't on them. This is on you.
Is that? I guess we should have checked. What was the leading? What were they talking about? Were they talking about Wrestlemania on Get Up this morning?
I have no idea. The next time I watch Get Up will be the first time that I have watched Get Up. It will not occur.
Or First Take.
Unless they hire me. All in, baby. Greatest sports show on the face of the planet.
They want you to replace Greeny.
No, thank you. It's just not going to be for me. What was I talking about? How do we get there? Oh, yeah. Brock Lesnar is good. He's going to face Gunther at SummerSlam in Minnesota.
I was told he retired.
Yeah. The thing about that is, all right. Anyway, yes. Playoffs continue tonight in the NBA. There are 3 games tonight. This is when you get into that part of the playoff schedule. They do 3 per night. NBCSN for Raptors and Cavaliers, Game 2 at 7. I think that's really Peacock for most people. I think you have to have maybe if you have Xfinity, you have NBCSN, but I think everybody else, it's just on Peacock. NBC for Hawks-Knicks, Game 2 at 8. Timberwolves-Nuggets, Game 2 at 10:30. ESPN Flyers-Penguins, Game 2 at 7. Wild-Stars, Game 2 at 9:30. ESPN 2 for Senators-Hurricanes, Game 2 at 7:30. Ducks-Oilers, Game 1 at 10. Everything else, go to GlennClarkRadio.com. Oh, Raw After Mania, always a big one. Tonight at 8 on Netflix.
Brock Lesnar's going to unretire?
I don't know. He might keep the charade going tonight. I don't know.
Star Wars, the Mall series, of course.
The Mall series. It's about how Luke Skywalker used to hang out at the mall on Friday nights with his friends.
No, you know what? You might be on that.
And he would say, "Say, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?"
We see
you're never going to get that reference.
No, I guess not.
In a million years, you're never going to. A schooner is a sailboat, dummy. Watch Mallrats. Was that on your list of
Yeah, I guess
Griffin's
it was.
movie
I think it
reviews?
was.
Watch Mallrats. Mallrats is amazing.
Okay. Maybe that could be something though. You do Luke Skywalker in his middle school years on Tatooine. And
I'm listening. Anakin maybe go all the way back.
Yeah,
he's hanging out with Jar Jar, right? Like they're just hanging out at the mall together on a Friday night.
There's a 420 thing on Hulu, an anthology comprised of 4 20-minute films
About weed?
Yeah.
All right.
Celebration of the world's most beloved plant, including Tales of Harold and Kumar and how that movie.
Oh, well, now wait a second. Now I'm listening.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
I'm
I don't know,
listening.
maybe
I
it'll be
love
good.
Harold and Kumar.
Funny AF with Kevin Hart, of course.
Yeah.
Hart is on a mission to crown the
No,
next
all right,
big
no,
name
no.
in stand-up.
No.
Keegan-Michael Key's a judge.
All right, enough.
Tom Segura.
Enough.
Kumail Nanjiani. Is that,
Enough.
yeah. Chelsea
It's hard to
Handler,
remember.
Heath
He was
Ledger.
a stand-up comedian because he decided to become an action star.
Yeah, that's it. Those are the big ones.
That's it. All
Yeah.
right, very good.
Yeah. Happy
You said
420.
you said
Happy 420, I
you said the
guess.
big ones. Then you said the Kevin Hart show.
Well, Kevin Hart's big star.
He is famous. You're right.
Little
about
big
that.
star.
Thank you. Not
Big
bad.
little star.
Not bad. Yeah. Happy 420. Happy holidays to all that celebrate. All right. Thanks today to Eric Edholm. Thanks also to Jeremy Guthrie, who you're about to hear from. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the.
Kimmel's going to have Ringo Starr and Cal Penn.
Yes. Yeah, Cal Penn. Big day for Cal Penn between this and the 420 Harold and Kumar thing, right? Like, big day.
Maybe that's what he's talking about, I guess.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, I'm sure.
AJ Przinsky's going to join us.
Oh, that's lovely. I look forward to chatting with AJ Przinsky. Anything else? Stuff and things.
AJ
Stuff and
Przinsky.
things. I do like AJ Przinsky. Don't get me wrong. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Baltimore Orioles, the Costas Inn, your Baltimore area Highs Dairy Stores, a Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, BuyAToyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds, Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. Had to do it a little bit earlier on, but a chance to catch up and preview Orioles Royals with our friend, Mr. Jeremy Guthrie, here on GCR. Well, it is always a pleasure to catch up with our next guest. Of course, the Orioles and Royals getting set to start a 3-game series tonight in Kansas City, and that means it's a great reason to chat with Jeremy Guthrie, Orioles legend, Royals TV analyst. He's with us now on GCR. Jeremy, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Hey, my pleasure, Glenn. Good to hear your voice and good to connect again.
Yeah, it's been too long. Jeremy, I know, look, everybody in Baltimore is panicked because the Orioles went 2-5 last week. I'm guessing everybody in Kansas City would say, yeah, we'd take that right now. What's going on with the Royals?
They would take that. Red alert here in Kansas City. I know Baltimore has tremendous expectations. The Royals are the same, and they have not played well yet.
What is, can you define maybe what has gone wrong? This is a team I think a lot of us believed was on the cusp, right? Was ready to maybe make that move towards the postseason. And clearly, obviously a slow start doesn't change that you're capable of doing that. But what has gone wrong to start the year for Kansas City?
Well, let's start with what's gone right. The starting pitching has really been fantastic. The Yankee series was not kind to any of the pitching, including the starters. But overall, they came into that series top 2 in ERA, top 2 in quality starts. And so the starters have been fantastic. Michael Wacha above all. Seth Lugo has been incredible as well. Up until yesterday, Cole Reagans has pitched very good. And so I think that's the good. The challenge has been the offense, and it just seems like it got off to a little bit of a tough start, and they just haven't been able to get the engine going. It's like, when you have a car and just won't turn over. That's where their offense is. It'll make the noise you want it to make when you put the key in and turn it, and people are going to listen. What is a key? No, you know how it used to be, right? It just won't turn over. They can't seem to find the way to get the big hit with runners in scoring position. They're in the bottom 3 of runners in scoring position, batting average and slugging, OPS, the whole thing. And defensively, they're fine. They're very consistent. Defensively, bullpen has been up and down. They lost their closer, Carlos Estevez, who led the major leagues in saves last year with 42.
Yeah.
They lost him on opening day, and so now you slot everybody in a little bit in the inning later than where they had them anticipated pitching them, and that just hasn't gone particularly well either. The ERA is super high. They've done a nice job with inherited runners, but overall, you hear what I'm saying. The team just hasn't really gotten going. And if it's not one thing, it's the other thing. And they stand at 7-15, worst record in baseball currently.
So it's funny because I look at Bobby Witt's numbers in particular as we talk about the offense, and I say, wow, like he's still hitting. Obviously, he's hitting 280. He's getting on base at a 360 clip. I guess what jumps out at me is he hasn't hit a home run yet, and maybe it's not all dissimilar, almost on the exact flip side from what the Orioles are dealing with Gunnar Henderson, where Gunnar Henderson isn't the Orioles' problem to start the year, but he's only hit home runs. He's just not hitting. He's sort of only been one profile. How much do the Royals need Bobby Witt to get the power back going a little bit in order for the offense to work the way that it needs to?
Well, the power will certainly help. He didn't get an extra base hit until I think it was game 15 or 16. That was the longest stretch of his career without an extra base hit. He's now racked up 5 doubles, I believe, 4 or 5 doubles. So he's getting on base. He doesn't have the slug that you would want from him that you expect, but that's going to come around. He's top 5 in hard hit rate, meaning every time he takes a swing, he's banging the ball pretty good. It's just not falling for him. I think the larger concern, and again, it's not as much a concern as much as it's an impatience at this point. Like let's get it going. It comes from the 3-4 hole. A crazy statistic. Up until this past week, Bobby Witt Jr. had been on base 27 times and had stolen 8 bases and had scored just 1 time.
How?
Imagine that.
How?
Imagine that. 1 time he had scored up until he scored 3 times in 1 game. He had scored once, being on base 27 times and 8 stolen bases. And that's the challenge, right? Vinny is always a slow starter. April has never been a great month for him. That being said, he hit his first home run last week, ended up hitting another home run after that. Salvi, up until 20 games in, had 2 home runs, 2 RBI, and then had a breakout game in Detroit in this past week as well. So these are guys that have track records, so no one's really concerned that they're not going to hit per se, but you're obviously concerned that they haven't started yet. It's like, okay, we need you to get going. And so they're being patient, they're being positive. Salvi's a true champion and leader. He's going to come around. Vinny has shown time after time the past 2 years that slow start or not, he's going to put you somewhere in that 20 to 30 home runs, and he's going to be right around 100 RBI. So this team is just chomping at the bit to get it going. They need it to happen sooner than later because they're falling really far behind. But luckily, the Central has a lot of parity. No one's running away with the division right now. So there is hope for them, and I know they cling to that.
He is the great Jeremy Guthrie, and he is with us here on GCR as we get ready for Orioles-Royals this week in Kansas City. Jeremy, I brought up the expectations for the Royals, right? Was it reasonable? Is it still reasonable to you? Again, 7-15 is not the end of the world. Is it still reasonable to you that this was a team that was on that trajectory that you felt like was ready to break through? Did we maybe get a little bit carried away with some of the expectations going into the season?
I don't believe they got carried away. I still believe in this team. They're extremely talented. Last year, a lot of things didn't go well for them, and they missed the playoffs by 5 games. That's a handful, but they were right in the hunt. They lost 4 or 5 starting pitchers last year, significant times. This year, they've all been healthy. So I don't think they were out in front of their skis on the expectations. It just hasn't gotten started off the way they wanted to, and unfortunately, that's going to make it a lot tougher. But you'll hear the mantra. If you hear them talk, it's always going to be 1 game at a time, 1 pitch at a time. They live and breathe that. It starts with their manager, Matt Cotrero. He's really, really patient, and he really does mean it when he says we're taking this 1 day at a time, 1 pitch at a time, and that's their approach. And so with that, there is desire to get better. There's a little bit of anxiety for it, but there's no panic. This is a team that hasn't panicked. Last year, they were one of the best at coming back late in games, and so I think that's the mentality and the attitude of them. And these fans are going to have to, the Royals fans are trying to stay as patient as they can. But make no bones about it. This is a huge series for both teams, and for the Royals, I think they have to win this series to swing the momentum, and I'm sure the Orioles feel the exact same way.
Yeah, it's a critical series. I think you're right about that. Jeremy, let me ask you about this because I wonder, I know the Royals are struggling in the moment, but I think there's a bit of a jealousy that we're feeling in Baltimore because the Royals were able to lock up Bobby Witt Jr. the way that they did. And we certainly recognize that, like, Gunnar Henderson, you can't get him at the price the Royals got Bobby Witt Jr. for now. Like, those days have come and gone. You got to do that quickly if you're going to do it. But there are people that would say, hey, but what do the Royals have to show for it? And it's an interesting conversation to be had, right? Like, what has it tangibly done for the fan base, for the city, for the community, for the franchise, that they did make that decision to be aggressive and to lock up Bobby Witt Jr. the way that they did? What has that meant for the Royals, even if it hasn't meant a 15-7 start to begin this season?
That's a fair question, and I think it's really given the fans stability. They say, this is our guy, this is our face, this is our new George Brett, our new Alex Gordon, and Bobby has played every bit in a way that deserves that kind of conclusion. But they just know. They know they have him, and that's important to our fans. Our fans, the Royals fans might feel at times that they've seen some big free agents leave, and that's kind of been the track record. I can go back to Jermaine Dye or Johnny Damon back in the start of my career, and many other kind of big free agents who have left. And so they have the assurity at this point that if the Royals are competing and the team is playing well and deserving of having Bobby Witt, that he's going to be a Royal for the next decade. And that's just a good peace of mind. And I think they feel that Mr. Sherman and the ownership group is committed to winning and to the city. And so it's so much easier to not have to have that conversation every off season and every, during the year. Why don't we lock this guy up? Are we going to lose him? It removes a lot of that. And I think that is big for Bobby individually. And I know it's a positive for the fan base and for the organization.
Yeah, and I think it's the type of thing that Orioles fans, they've done a little bit. Samuel Basayo and Shane Boz have given out a couple of extensions, but when you have that centerpiece, man, it's just nothing that's sort of like that. It driving people out to the ballpark and knowing that guy's going to be there. Jeremy, I wonder because, we actually have at this point, I guess maybe we could say contemporary. I want to say this the right way, that we're getting further and further away from your career, and I don't want to call you old. I hope that you don't think that's what I'm doing. But Chris Bassitt ends up in Baltimore this year. And, I think there's a lot of people that hear the name Chris Bassitt, and then he gets off to a bit of a sluggish start to the year, and they start to panic that is it just over for Chris Bassitt, right? Like, is it possible? Now, he went out and threw 5 shutout innings against the Guardians on Saturday and maybe quieted that conversation. But when you get to this part of your career, deeper into your 30s, and Chris is 37, what is different for a pitcher at that point? And what is it that you're watching for to know, like, that this guy can still do it even this deep into his career?
Well, I think the mix of pitches becomes a good comforting factor. Michael Walker right now is a pitcher that I would say is towards the end of his career, certainly, right? And Seth Lugo is getting up in age. But when you watch these guys, their execution, their pitch mix, their wiliness, if you will, just gives you the hope. These guys can pitch. And a lot of fans aren't used to seeing people that can pitch because they're just used to seeing guys that can throw and really dominate a game with electric stuff. And certainly that works, but for a long, long time, it was more about pitching. And so when you look at a Chris Bassitt or his former teammate last year, Max Scherzer, these guys can pitch. And there's a reason that at 37 years old, Chris Bassitt is signing a free agent deal with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get stuck looking for a big radar gun or huge swing and miss. But sometimes it's just about pitching and getting bad contact and getting outs. And that's the way Chris Bassitt, I think, will swing around, hopefully for Orioles, for the team and for the fans, is he'll just keep doing what he's been doing. He'll show them that he can pitch, and they may not be as wowed by the numbers as they would with another young arm, but they'll be very content with the results.
I ask also, I know it's funny because I saw you were tweeting on opening day, Trevor Rogers joined the club of Orioles that had thrown 7 shutout innings in an opening day start, a club that involves one Jeremy Guthrie. I think there's maybe an interesting parallel between you and Trevor, right? Because sort of guys that when you arrived here, I don't know that we had any reason to think that you were about to become this team's ace, right? And with Trevor Rogers, he arrives in Baltimore, and it doesn't go well after the trade from Miami, and he actually gets sent back down to the minors, and now less than 2 years later, he's the opening day starter, he's the ace, and it was a tough week for Trevor last week. I wonder what that's like, right? Can you describe that feeling of going from guy that had no expectations whatsoever, that was, for the Orioles, when you were kind of found money, to like being the guy that is being relied upon to go out and be the stopper every 5th day and what it takes to maybe adjust to that.
Well, it's nice to start that way. No one wants to start with the pressure of having to be the guy. And so it's a nice way to ease into a role. And I watched that opening from Trevor, and it was spectacular, right? It was a battle between two pitchers, a really well-pitched game. And to see him now establish himself as a frontline starter, a number one, an ace, I think once you get there, you just appreciate the opportunity. You appreciate, and I think the process of it all lends itself to being able to last a little bit longer, right? It's not like this just I'm going to show up and be nasty all the time, but you have to really work for it. You appreciate it, and you continue to work and never get complacent in your preparation and what you're doing. So I think, for the Royals to go out and make that acquisition and find that kind of arm, I certainly know for a fact they didn't think anything like that when they got me. It just was an opportunity to get a young arm and I wasn't even that young. I was 27 years old as a rookie. But I was really grateful for everyone throughout the organization that had seen me and said, put in a good word, said, hey, we should give this guy a chance. And then, to start 3 opening days in Birdland and have that opportunity was just well beyond what I would have expected. And I hoped every day just to give my best. And that's what I tried to do in Baltimore was I wasn't always going to be the prettiest starter or the nastiest results, but you were going to get a good hard effort every time and no quit attitude.
Well, you certainly succeeded in that, which is why we still love you, despite of what the Royals did to us in 2014. We've managed to somehow forgive that all these years later. Hey, I saw the picture. Was that you and Jonesy together in Japan during the World Baseball Classic?
Jonesy and I have been all over the world together. He lives in Spain, of course, as you know. And me having lived in Spain for 2 years as a missionary, as a 19-year-old, I go to Spain every year at least twice. And so we're on bike rides. We ride to restaurants together. We just have a blast. And as ambassadors for Major League Baseball, it's just been so much fun to nurture that relationship. Adam, people have probably said it, but it's worth saying it again. Adam is as good a teammate as I ever had. And that's it's rare. It's rare to see a guy that's on the top step that never goes inside and misses an inning and says, I've got to go do my thing. He was always there. He always worked. He always played every single day, right? That's what he wanted to do. And so Adam is every bit the Orioles Hall of Famer that he was recognized as last summer. And I was just really sad I couldn't make it there for that celebration. I was actually out of the country once again. But, we've become even better friends afterward. And I just appreciate him and Audie and their boys and the family as they are. It's pretty incredible to have him back in your organization doing what he's doing in the role that he's doing. And he's a true ambassador of the Orioles and of Major League Baseball.
I can't echo those comments. They don't make human beings like Adam Jones, man. Like, he is just incredible. Everything about him. And I would pay money to watch that reality show of the two of you just kind of traveling together through Europe. That'd be great.
It would be good TV.
Now, wait a second.
It would be good TV, no doubt.
You bring that up, right? So Adam went in. Now Chris Davis is going in. Do you think about that? Is that something that would mean something to you? You bring up, like, you were a 3-time opening day starter. Would the Orioles Hall of Fame be something that would be special for you if that were to happen?
Well, let me tell you something, Glenn. I'm in 0 Halls of Fame, so I don't know what that says about. We actually went to an event last night for the College Baseball Hall of Fame, which has relocated into Kansas City, Overland Park, Kansas. And they have 200 members, so a very small fraternity of inductees because it started in 2006, 20 years ago. And we were driving to the event, and she goes, are you in this Hall of Fame? I said, no, I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I'm not in any Hall of Fame to my knowledge. No. And she goes, well, she's like, of all the Hall of Fames, you deserve this one because I had a great 2 years at Stanford University, maybe 2 of the, really just solid seasons on the mound. And, I think there was a time when I was pitching in Baltimore, we would see those inductions. And yes, the answer is to be recognized for anything that you do in life and especially on the field is a huge honor. So it would be a huge honor, but I don't think I'm deserving of it. But I have looked at those names. Even last season, I came in and broadcast in Baltimore, and I went out into right field out by Utah Street, and I looked at all the Hall of Fame inductees, and I was looking them all up. And it is a huge, Baltimore, of all teams, this is a storied franchise. I don't anticipate being in any Hall of Fame, but of course, if someone saw worthy at some point in any Hall of Fame, I would be tremendously honored. And I'm just grateful for, I'm just grateful for every single day I had and that I could play a game that I really, really, truly loved and appreciated, and that I still get a chance to be a part of in a broadcast booth or teaching a kid in Bulgaria how to pitch. It's amazing.
That's cool.
That's the true reward for me.
Jeremy Guthrie, at The Real J Guts is how you follow him. You're a special human being, my friend. Always appreciate taking the time for us. Let's do it again real soon, all right?
Absolutely. You guys are incredible, and may it be a good series. Let's say I'll see some good baseball in the next 3 days.